Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I thought about starting the story Callie, Call of Darkness. I read the intro and it kinda seems interesting, so I thought why not. Episode 1, Season 1. When you're unexpectedly summoned to India to assist in an investigation, you aren't sure what to expect. Soon you're pulled into a terrifying web of murder and mystical powers. Yes, let's go. Okay, shock me. Episode 1, The Gaze. Fear consumed his mind. The howling of a dozen voices filled the room. They chanted words in an ancient language as they performed the ritual and bowed down to a huge dancing statue. Please don't tell me that they're performing an exorcism. Please do not tell me they're trying to perform an exorcism. The flames from torches flickered, casting frightening shadows on the damp walls. It was the dance of death. Yeah, sure, why not? Imminent, slow, desperate. Let me go. Oh God, what have I done to deserve this? Slowly, a shadow approached him from under the hood. Two eyes glinted with madness and cruelty. Oh no, they want to possess him? Nah, his gaze was intense and greedy. Be quiet. Is this how you meet your death? I'm sorry. Accept it. Be humble and respectful while facing your face. Let me see your face real quick, sir. Several hands roughly grabbed the man and threw him at the stranger's feet. He leaned over the victim with his lips stretched into a smile. There was something terrifying in his grin, which made the man lower his head and burst into tears. Poor him! Only then he realized that his death was inevitable. Smooth metal flashed in the stranger's hand. He raised his fist with a dagger in it. Take him, oh great one. Oh my God, are they sacrificing him? They said they were doing a ritual. Oh my God, they're sacrificing him. A scarlet spray splattered the walls and the massive statue. I am done. There was a loud scream in the room. The chorus of voices began to sing louder. The shadows continued their dance. Then there was nothing but darkness. A female laughter. I'm sorry? Is that female supposed to be us? Calcutta, 1980. I opened my eyes and sat up, startled. Huh? Oh yeah, and I couldn't change her name, so by the way. I looked around nervously, trying to figure out what was going on. My head was buzzing as if it had been struck hard. It was hot and the sun was burning mercilessly. I was laying under a canopy, carefully sheltered from the sun's rays. It was noisy and crowded, but no one was paying attention to me. Of course, if it's crowded. A man leaned over me, staring at me with a searching look. What? I shuddered, remembering the shadow from my dream? What was that exactly? Hold up. The story plays in 1980? The choice you make now will change the course of the story. Some choices change the plot only slightly, while others lead to major changes. Jump back. Honestly, punch. Oh my God, I can't. Why am I like this? I jerked forward, instinctively defending myself. The man deftly dodged my blow while giving me a puzzled look. Oh, wow. Hello, hot guy. Come ti chiami? Let me stop. The man I can't. He frowned, perplexed. Our eyes met. What you mean? You can't just startle a woman like that. Nowadays, we know how to defend ourselves. Letting out a sigh of relief, I realized that this was a completely different person. His face was calm, and his cold gray eyes were emotionless. Gray eyes. He doesn't seem to be from India. Are you a Malakan? No. He speaks English. Yes. My voice sounded hoarse and uncertain. I cleared my throat, trying to stand up. Yeah, that's me. No, it's not. I would never ever reveal my identity if I don't know who you are. Like, sir. I'm not trying to murder myself. The man immediately came closer, gently taking me by my elbow and helping me stand up. Careful. You got hurt when you fainted. Fainted? Yes, don't you remember? Why are you mad? I'm the one who fainted. I was following you when I saw you faint. The vendor was very scared. Why would you follow me? Just because I fainted. I'm sorry, I literally have to ask that question. Like, nowadays, it's not very common anymore to help. I'm just not sure whether he was scared for you or because you weren't going to buy anything. Sir! I racked my brain, trying to remember the moments leading up to my fainting spell. My gaze fell on the vendor, the owner of the canopy tent, under which I was just lying. The elderly man observed us the entire time, smiling. Sunstroke. You okay, sir? You good? Will the lady buy anything? He spoke to me in Hindi, a language spoken in most of India. I looked down at the stall. The jewelry laid out on it gleamed in the sunlight. Such beautiful jewels. That's why I had ended up in Calcutta's bazaar. I wanted to get something to remember the city by before going to the British Embassy. Looking back to the man, I said, You said you were following me. Yes, my name is Killian Lightwood. No, not Lightwood. Always remembering Alexander Gideon Lightwood. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a military attaché. Okay, I'll be escorting your task force. So technically, you're my bodyguard. Okay. Take what you need and let's get going. They've been waiting for us for quite some time now. The vendor smiled. He clearly didn't want me to leave empty-handed because of my fainting spell. Take your pick, madam. Kaolin sapphires, Casimir emeralds, rubies from Subramania. Natural, not synthetic. Even though Killian didn't understand Hindi, he still grimaced at the vendor's over-eager tone. Bella. Ooh! Mere snow Bella. The vendor suddenly switched to English. It's at those moments when you know that people are trying to screw you over. Amy only sells fine jewelry with natural stones. I fought back a smile, concentrating on what to pick for myself. Okay. Ooh. I don't know. Honestly, I like the blue one the most. Honestly now, huh? Green, I have green eyes, but you know what? I'm gonna go with the red. Come on, give me the rubies. It suits my look. Rubies, powerful stones. I like the loud red color. Madam is correct. Rubies have powerful energy, perfect for extraordinary people. Any stone will suit such a beautiful girl. I thanked Amir, paid him, and then proceeded to follow Killian. People were scurrying back and forth, preoccupied with their own lives, their voices lost in the din of the street. Beggars clung to well-dressed men and women, pleading for at least one ruby. They reached out with their thin arms, brazenly tugging at their sleeves, demanding attention and money. The locals briskly shoved the poor away from them, brushing off their clothes and quickening their pace. The eyes of the beggars lit up as they all looked at me. It was far easier to beg a foreigner for money, rather than a local who could push back more confidently. Nah, you're not coming to me. I'm leaving. I slowed down, unsure how to get around the small crowd of beggars that had gathered around me. Now that's just nah. I was saved before I could do anything. Thank you, Killian. You got a brownie point. Killian gently took me by my elbow and led me through the crowd, shooing away the poorly dressed girls and boys. They were smart enough not to pester such a large and not very friendly looking man. I could barely keep up with him. You know, these men that are trying to, pull us along, but not paying attention to us at all. Like, sir, I'm not 2 feet tall. Give me a little time. The only expression he has up until this point is anger. He had broad shoulders and a strong grip. I had no doubt that with him by my side, I was as safe as if I were behind a stone wall. Killian walked with a perfectly straight back and his gaze fixed ahead of him. The impeccable way he carried himself made it immediately clear that he was a military man. He was perfect for our mission. Are you here because of the missing British diplomat too?
Yes, same as you.
I'm not familiar with the details of the case. Can you tell me more about it?
You'll find out soon enough. So tight-lipped.
Still, I had to leave London in a rush. I couldn't even refuse, and now my younger brother is all alone in England. I dropped everything to come to India. I heard the man take a deep breath.
Fine, but I'll be brief.
Good. Getting him to talk is like pulling teeth.
The British government sent a diplomat on an important mission to India. After the country gained independence from the British about 30 years ago, we periodically sent diplomats to monitor compliance with some crucial provisions. As you already know, our diplomat is missing.
He is fine. So we're going to look for him?
Yes, together with other members of a task force.
How kind of you. We passed through the crowd of beggars and Killian let go of my hand. So you're a captain in the army?
Yes, and you're an ideologist.
I gather. I have a degree in ideology, but I have no work experience.
No work experience?
None. I wasn't able to get any due to some personal reasons. Killian's face seemed to flush with annoyance.
This is a very important matter. Personal reasons. An inexperienced ideologist could ruin everything.
Some choices increase independence or loyalty. An independent heroine is more concerned with herself and does not adapt to others. A loyal heroine is more compassionate and it is easier for her to interact with others. Who does he think he is? Put him in his place, explain. No, put him in his place. I am qualified enough to do my job. I have all the necessary knowledge and skills. That's why I was selected for this mission, same as you. Are you doubting your superior's decision? Now this time I had to go with the independence. Like, sir, what gives you the right to judge me just because I don't have any work experience? Honestly, I hate this. This reminds me of general life here. Especially those jobs where you need to have a very high, or let's just say a very, very good education. They all are looking for people to work for them. Like, they are looking for employees that already have gained, 3, 4, 5 work experiences so that they can immediately just put them on a spot and they can work for them. But how is a person supposed to gain work experience if he or she is never given the chance? Like, I'm sorry, what is this? Thought so. From now on, think before you speak, Captain, if you don't want to come across as arrogant or stupid.
I apologize. My flight was long, and it's gotten on my nerves. What were these personal reasons?
I brushed him off. Problems at home. Someone had to run the family shop. I was the only one who could do it. I had no choice.
Family shop.
Indian goods. They're in the mountain in London. The expression on his face seemingly softened. We were almost at the embassy. He slowed down and started walking alongside me.
Do you have family in India?
I smiled. No, my family moved to England long ago. The captain nodded. We headed to the embassy's gates. We walked into the meeting room where we were already expected. The room was cold and clean. After the hot and noisy street of Calcutta, it felt like paradise. A long rectangular table made of dark oak stood in the center of it, with two people leaning over some papers. I saw an older man and a young woman. They turned around as they heard us come in, and I saw their faces.
Captain, you've already arrived.
The man walked over to Killian, smiled broadly at him, and extended his hand for a handshake. He didn't even glance at me. Killian shook the man's hand.
Good day, Mr. Rose. I found our Indiologist.
Only after that, Mr. Rose deigned to look at me. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yes, and you are here too.
Amala Khan, at your service. I managed to squeeze out a grin. I had an unpleasant feeling. I'm not feeling welcome here, girl. That's what I feel.
Isn't it convenient being an Indiologist and half Indian at the same time?
I'm gonna ignore the joke. I was born and raised in England. Why only independent? My ethnicity is irrelevant. I walked past Mr. Rose without giving him a second glance. Mr. Rose, you have shown that dignity is more important to you than the relationship with your team. What do you mean? I'm just defending myself. Mr. Rose, the task force leader, immediately set to work on the papers he had been studying before our arrival. I guessed that he was not going to introduce us. No respect whatsoever. He's clearly one of those people who believe that women belong in the kitchen, not at work. I decided to introduce myself first. Amala Khan. The woman smiled gratefully and held out her hand in response. It's lovely to meet you. I'm Lima Park, criminologist. I looked at the captain, puzzled. A criminologist? Aren't we just looking for the diplomat?
We have been ready for anything.
Okay. The captain walked over to Mr. Rose and began discussing something with him. I didn't like his answer. Ready for anything? What does it even mean?
Let's get everyone up to speed. Our task force is small. We don't need any publicity.
Ooh, I'm sorry. That was unintentional.
We sat at the table
across from each other, listening intently. The captain handed me a document with important information.
Here's all the latest information on the diplomat. What time he flew in, what hotel he checked in at, where he went, where he was last seen. Study this document carefully. Our job, as you all know, is to find this British diplomat. He arrived 2 weeks ago. 5 days ago, he went silent. What was the purpose of his visit to Calcutta? That's classified. Officially, it was a diplomatic visit. However, he was asked with obtaining some necessary information and relaying it to the British government.
Killian said that this diplomat wanted to make sure that some key provisions related to the Indian Independence Act were being followed. I guess the captain told me too much. In that moment, I caught Gray's eyes staring at me. Ooh! He is fine. Nah, I'm not gonna say anything, sir. Don't worry. I pursed my lips and looked away. Don't worry, I won't tell that. How are we supposed to investigate his disappearance if we don't even know the purpose of his visit? I don't understand what's going on. I was taken away from my work and sent on this important mission to India, but you won't even give me all the details.
You don't need to know the details.
Of course I do. I'm a part of this group. He gave the criminologist an arrogant look. What's wrong with this man? I don't like this. I will say it directly. I want to explain. I'm gonna explain my point of view. To be honest, I don't like this approach either. They didn't even ask my opinion when they sent me out here. I had to drop everything I was doing back home. Mr. Rose studied me as he listened. Despite all that, I'm still willing to help, but I expect to be helped in return. That sounds fair, doesn't it?
I'm afraid, Miss Killian, I'm simply following orders. This document I'm giving you has all you need to know.
I started feeling a little tense. There was no information. The higher-ups were keeping something from us, and everyone in this team was so different, and I needed to be able to work with all of them. I looked over the members of the task force. With you, everything is crystal clear. Yeah, you're not having it with us, and I'm not having it with you. You're a bully who thinks women are beneath him. That. Killian is a little rough around the edges, but he's a good guy, I think, from what I can tell. And you are a no-nonsense and disciplined military man. I hope we'll grow to understand each other, you and I. And you, how did you end up here? A female criminologist in a male-dominated law enforcement agency, where a lot of people are like Rose. You're incredible. I thought about it and smiled, observing the woman. Lima noticed my gaze and returned it with a friendly smile. You're becoming friends. Aw, that's cute. Mr. Rose unceremoniously gathered the papers into a stack and addressed everyone.
Go on, you need to get settled and get used to all of this. Read the document, study it carefully. Tomorrow we'll get to work.
The man looked at Killian.
Captain Lightwood, escort the ladies. It will be safer that way.
I'm sorry. Does he have to take me to the bathroom too? Killian nodded curtly in response. The leader of her task force left the room, slamming the door behind him. Lima exhaled noisily, "Thank you," throwing a sharp glare at the door.
Who does he think he is? Does he think we can take care of ourselves?
That's not it. It's just not safe for foreign women to travel anywhere on their own in India, especially in poorer areas where people in lower castes live.
Castes?
Killian silently listened to our conversation, assessing me. There is a caste system in India. Your future is determined by your family's caste. The upper castes have a lot, whereas the lower castes might have nothing.
That sounds harsh. Why do they agree to live by such rules?
This is a very ancient system that has been in place for thousands of years. The caste system is sacred to some people. I don't think that they have a choice, sweetie.
Are people in the lower caste considered dangerous?
Not necessarily, but the locals have a Bengali saying, honey on the lips, poison in the soul. Thank you, girl. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I said that in my German lesson. Literally, they can talk beautifully, but their words are actually just filled with poison. Like they are trying to poison you from the inside out with their words, you know. This means that you shouldn't believe everything that people tell you. Their true motives may be very different. Lima paused, thinking about something, then she shrugged.
Well, I don't mind. I don't speak Hindi anyway.
We are not just in India. We're in West Bengali. In West Bengal, there are many different dialects that even I don't speak. I looked over at Killian. That's why we need a military attaché.
Yes, and it will be much easier for me if you don't go anywhere, especially alone.
How am I supposed to go anywhere alone if you keep on being stuck on me? And that was what we agreed on. Let's go out. After we dropped off Lima at her hotel, Killian escorted me by taxi to the house where I would be staying. Only 3 rooms remained in the small hotel that the embassy staff had picked for us. It was no surprise given that the reservations was made at the last minute. Mr. Rose, Lima, and Killian were checked into the rooms. The staff at the British Embassy, however, found a local family who was happy to welcome me into their home during my stay in Calcutta. Since I was the only one who spoke Hindi, it was thought more appreciated that I would be the one to stay with them. I said goodbye to Killian and got out of the taxi. When I heard the second door slam, I turned around in surprise. Huh?
I will walk you to the door and we'll meet this family.
Why? I can cross the road by myself.
Then you said it's not safe in India. I love this man.
Yes, but only in dodgy areas. This is a nice neighborhood. And I'm due to stay with a good family. The door is like 40 feet away. I saw Killian frowning. He stared right at me with a stern look in his eyes. Yeah, he's not taking no for an answer, girl.
Miss Khan, my job is to keep you safe.
And who's gonna keep you safe?
Please back off and let me work.
Why don't you just show that you care? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that he cares about us just yet, but just that he cares in general about people. Some choices can be bought with diamonds. They give access to exclusive scenes, unlock special outfits, or change the attitude of other characters towards you. Agree. Come with me. Fine, come with me. I don't mind being escorted straight to the door. Despite his serious attitude, I caught a glimpse of amusement in Killian's eyes. I know that you're a softie. When the sun rays hit his face, they turned a gleaming silver shade. Killian is glad you agreed right away.
Good. I really don't want to argue.
I'm definitely not in the mood to argue today.
And it's important for me to know the details. Who you will be living with. Who are these people? I'm responsible for you. Does that sound funny?
No, just curious.
Does my job make you curious?
Why is he smiling like that? I brushed him off nonchalantly. Okay, fine. Don't take everything literally.
If you say so.
Together we headed towards the house. What will you tell them? You don't speak Hindi.
I just need to see them.
The intensity with which Killian tackled every situation suddenly made me laugh. When we got to the door, Killian knocked. A few moments later, a young, modestly dressed woman opened the door. Wow. She immediately put her palms together and bowed her head slightly. Namaste, Miss Khan, and... We heard other voices coming from behind her. The house owners and immaculate dressed couple appeared in the doorway. Sana, are you talking to our guest on the doorstep? When the woman saw that there was a man next to me, she was taken aback. Oh.
Has Miss Khan arrived with company?
Of course, she's not alone. She slightly nudged her husband in the side with her elbow. Decent unmarried young women should always have a chaperone. Not a chaperone! A well-mannered guest obviously comes from a good family. Everything needs to be explained to you. The man looked at his wife, slightly surprised.
I just didn't expect Miss Khan is from England after all.
She also has lost sight of a good Indian upbringing. Why are we still talking on the doors? Sana, did you set the table? Yes, Miss Chauhan. Looking at the couple, I unintentionally smiled. This is Captain Lightwood. You're right, he's my chaperone. Unfortunately, he doesn't speak Hindi and he is in a rush. He has just come to meet you and to express his gratitude for your hospitality. The woman beamed with a big, genuine smile. Oh, how wonderful. What a fine man. The husband extended his hand to the captain, who confidently shook it. Killian bowed his head briefly and said in English, Amala, please tell them that I am very happy to meet them, but I must leave now. Killian nodded goodbye to my host, and their maid looked at me and then headed back to the taxi. Miss Khan, come in, please. Oh, wow. I was escorted into a spacious and bright living room. Furnishings. The room smelled of incense. Take a seat, honey. Sana will set the table now. The maid nodded and immediately went into the dining room. We sat down on a sofa unholstered in a luxurious fabric.
My name is Ayran Chauhan, and this is my wife, Priyanka. We're honored to host you. Yes, we are really looking forward to your arrival. Make yourself at home.
Thank you very much for your hospitality. You have been very helpful.
Have you been to India before?
No, this is my first time here.
You must be very happy to set foot in your country of origin.
The choice you make will affect some of the character's attitude towards you. I'm very happy to be here. I'm here only because I have to be. I'm very happy to be here. We love our homeland. I have long dreamed of visiting India. My roots are here. This is where my family comes from. I'm sure I'll love it here. A smile lit up my host's faces. Priyanka nodded.
That's wonderful, my dear. India will become your second home, I'm sure of it.
You made it clear that you're glad to be here. The maid entered the living room.
The table is set. Wonderful, let's have lunch and then you can pick your room.
We headed to the dining room. After lunch, Mr. Chauhan excused himself and retired to his office to work. Priyanka and Sana took me to the second floor and showed me 3 rooms.
We have a big house but no children, so you can choose any room. They are all empty.
I was shown every room. They were all next to each other. We're going with this one.
It's so gorgeous. That's true. Respect! Iran and I made it for ourselves, but the family astrologer said that the location was not as auspicious for us. And so it is, so luxurious and so empty. Move in if you like.
May I?
Of course, I'm happy to provide my guests with the best of everything.
Okay, some choices increase respect. I'll stay in this room then.
Sana, help our guest get settled.
The woman looked up at me with her big brown eyes.
Amala, make yourself at home. I'm close by if you need anything.
Miss Chauhan put her palms together, smiling, and left the room. Sana walked up to the bed and began changing the sheets, occasionally glancing at me. I dragged my suitcase to the closet, opened it, and started unpacking my things. They seem to be good people. I'm lucky to be able to stay with them. Hosting foreigners and being proud about their good fortune must be something they value in their caste. By the way, I wonder which caste they belong to. It's clear that it must be an upper caste, but which one? I didn't even ask what Mr. Chauhan does for a living. I'll do it later.
Miss Khan should be careful.
In the silence, the maid's voice rang out, almost scaring me. I turned away from my thoughts and towards the young woman. I beg your pardon?
Miss Khan has arrived in Calcutta at a very bad time. You need to be extremely careful.
The young woman froze, looking down at the floor. After a few seconds, she added more confidentially,
It's good that you have a man accompanying you. It will be better that way. But watch out, even with him you might be in danger.
I finally stopped what I was doing and took a few steps towards the maid. Sana, what are you talking about? What's happening in Calcutta? The young woman hesitated, squeezing the edge of the blanket in her fingers. I saw her worried black eyes start back and forth.
Something bad is going on in Calcutta. Something is coming. Something you should stay away from. As far away as possible.
Sana, please be more specific. I don't understand.
Durga Puja, Kali Puja, the disappearance of people from the upper castes.
I felt my heart thumping in my chest. Pujas? Indian festivities?
Yes, they are preparing for them.
I chuckled nervously. Durga Puja is coming up?
Don't leave your group that day. There are evil people out there.
Wouldn't it be reckless to attack people from the higher castes?
There are those who don't care about castes.
The maid continued to change the sheets as if the conversation never happened. I was silent for a while, then I got back to my suitcase. Santa's acting weird. There is no point in questioning her further. In any case, Killian will be with me. Although some people consider Durga a cruel goddess, the festival in her honor is usually fun, at least from what I've read. I spent the rest of the day sorting my things out. By the time Santa finished helping me, it was already late. The young woman warned me once more and left the room. She said, "Beware," and then I was asleep. Slowly I began to stir. I stayed in my bed, hoping to doze off again. Several minutes passed while I tossed and turned, trying to fall back asleep. Something was bothering me. An uncomfortable feeling woke me up, the feeling of someone else's gaze on me. Huh? I opened my eyes in the complete darkness. Faint light spilled in from the street, hardly enough to outline the shapes of the objects in the room. I looked around sleepily as I slowly lifted myself up on my elbows. My eyes had not yet gotten used to the darkness, so I just blinked, not seeing anything. But the feeling of someone else's gaze on me was still there. I realized that I didn't want to close my eyes and lay back down until I could see everything in the room. It took a minute for my eyes to get used to the darkness and be able to see the rest of the room. There was no one else there. I'm imagining things. Here I am, lying awake like a fool, trying to figure out who knows what. It would be better to get a good night's sleep before going to work tomorrow. I wanted to laugh at my own foolishness, but I didn't laugh because I heard a rustle. Okay, who is coming for me in the middle of the night? It sounded like a skirt's hem was dragging across the floor. I went numb. The silence was deafening, and the rustling stood out so clearly. Okay. I peered into the dark corners. I began to breathe deeply, trying to drown out the rustling sound with my breath. It's not fun anymore, Amala. You thought some nonsense before going to bed, and now you're sitting here shaken. My voice rang out in the silence. At some point, it seemed to me that the rustling started getting closer. It was coming right at me and getting louder. Okay, that's enough. I jumped out of the bed and rushed to the floor lamp to turn on the light. With trembling fingers, I tried to switch it on. I turned around to make sure that there was no one there. The room was empty, but I kept feeling someone else's presence and expecting a night visitor to suddenly reveal themselves. I didn't care if it turned out I was just scared by the darkness and I ended up looking silly. I just wanted to turn on the light. What's with this bloody lamp? There was no light. I turned to the window and saw Calcutta in a complete blackout. Not a single house was illuminated. The whole city was shrouded in darkness. The floorboards creaked behind me. Uh-oh. Oh my god, that's a nice picture. First, I am sorry. Oh my god, rage of goddess, kindness of goddess, I am weak. Anyways, nah, I'm done. We literally just arrived and wanted to get a good night's sleep, and there is someone hiding in the shadows trying to attack us. It's always like this. I always pick stories like this. Let me stop. Well, anyways, I like the story. Honestly, I like the writing. But yeah, that was episode 1. And I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in a next video. Bye!